Welcome to all our friends, families, and students. This is the InSights Arts Ceremony, a tradition in this running since 1992 here at APH. So for 29 years, this international contest has awakened our senses, provoked discussion, and allowed artists who have vision loss the opportunity to share their creative talents and workmanship with the world. As we prepare for a memorable 60 minutes of celebration, please stop for just a moment and share who you are and where you live. And we are launching a poll so that we know if you are an educator. We want to know if you are an ex officio trustee. Maybe you are APH staff. We want to hear if you are an InSights Art participant and family members. We know that some of our participants for the art are linking on, connecting with us in the celebration via phone. So you don't have access to this poll that some of the others do who are online. But we do. We want to know who you are. We want to know, where are we reaching? Where are we reaching in the United States? Where do you live? What country are you from, perhaps? So we want to know just a little bit about you. It helps us to feel a little bit more close. Since we're not physically together, it is helpful to know who else is in the room. Now, while we give everyone a chance to get in the room and keep the poll open for just another moment longer, I can share that we are all in for a real treat. So whether this is your first time joining this annual celebration of the arts, or you've been with us before, helping to toast each recognized artist, it's always a treat and a true highlight as annual meeting closes. This exhibition honors artists who are blind and visually impaired of all ages and abilities. So let's quickly find out who exactly is with us today. Well, I just received an error, but we'll see if it's still going on the part. Perhaps you're seeing it as well. We have 30% ex officio trustees, and we say welcome to also our trustee assistants, teachers of the visually impaired O&M specialists. We are delighted to see that we have in our room with us InSights Arts participants and family members, staff from APH. Welcome. It is great to have you with us. Canada, we have reached you, and we are glad that you are part of our celebration, our party, as we close things out for this 153rd annual meeting. And like always, through most of all of our events throughout this annual meeting, we are reaching the entire United States. So we are glad that you are with us today. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you APH President, Dr. Craig Netter.
Thank you, Amy. And thank you all for hanging with us for 2 weeks of just amazing information. I know at times it's probably inundated you, and it's hard to step away from your desk to tune in and be a part of the Zoom community, but we're so glad that you made that time and that commitment, and we thank you for your support. InSights Art is always one of those special occasions, a highlight along with the Hall of Fame that happens every year at APH. Because, as I've said oftentimes before, is art speaks so clearly, regardless of ability, regardless of, just anything, your where you are in life. And this event reaches out both from students to adults in a variety of settings, from the very accomplished to the novice. But each one of those, the same amount of heart and expression and passion goes into every piece. And it's always a highlight for me to meet those artists. And I've missed that for the last 2 years. So we hope this will be the last year that we have to present these awards in this way. But let's talk about who entered this year. We had a nice turnout again this year, as with last year. We had participation from 36 states. 3 different countries, India, the Philippines, and Colombia. So thank you, international participants. Overall, 208 entries, and 155 of those came from schools and agencies, 53 from artists from their homes. And of the 208 entries, 39 of those are juried awards and 2 received Visioneer awards. So we had participation across the board. I won't go into all the figures on that, but just to let you know, we have a great representation of some very creative individuals. And so with that, I am going to turn this over to our Masters of Ceremonies, Rob Guillen, and let you introduce us to our winners.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 InSights Art Awards. My name is Rob Guillen, and I want to thank you for attending this annual celebration of art created by talented artists of all ages who just happen to be blind. This year's awards feature a queen, a musician, a frozen wave, and lots of cats. But all the artwork submitted for the 2021 competition completes what all art sets out to do. It inspires us, it challenges us, and it makes the world a better place. InSights has many people to thank for this year's programming. I would like to thank Paul Schrader, Vice President for Government and Community Affairs, Dr. Craig Metter, President for APH, and the APH Board of Trustees for their continual support of this extraordinary program. I'd like to thank APH's Innovation and Strategy team, especially Anthony Jones, Stephanie Lancaster, Sarah Brown, Abby Polis. I'd like to thank the APH Outreach Superstars. You know who they are, Leanne Grillat and Amy Campbell. No strangers to many of us who are here, but they have organized this very complicated virtual conference with class and expertise. I'd also like to thank APH's technology department led by Matt Ballard and all the technical magic that he and his team cast behind the scenes. And trust me, there's quite a bit of technical stuff that goes on that we don't ever see. And finally, I'd like to thank Meg Outland, my assistant, who has kept me in line this past year as much as she was able to do that. As Dr. Metter mentioned, InSights still received 208 entries this past year, despite sustained closures, loss of supplies, and a general unease. Truly a miraculous number, considering the many obstacles involved. The awards this year were chosen by a group of very talented, discerning professionals, as always, who accepted the impossible task of selecting artwork from hundreds of worthy candidates. I'd like to spotlight our jurors right now. Desmond Stepp is the outreach coordinator at Louisville Visual Art. Desmond is a community organizer and instructor of mindfulness and meditation, and is also an artist of oil paintings and charcoal drawings featuring the beauty of Black women and Mother Nature. Glory Simmons is the director of the Thatcher Gallery at the University of San Francisco. She is a curator and author of 2 short story collections and an award-winning poet. Marty Kuhn is a working artist at her studio and gallery at Hope Mills here in Louisville, Kentucky. She is a former teacher and principal and past board president for Louisville Visual Art. Amy Chase is the art director at Louisville Visual Art. She is one of the founders and coordinators of the Southern Crossings Pottery Festival, as well as a teacher of ceramics. She is a nationally recognized artist who has shown her work at numerous exhibits from California to Washington, D.C. Thank you, Desmond, Glory, Marty, and Amy, for all your work to make the 2021 competition special. A virtual awards is not what we expected when we began the season, but we are all one family, so here we are together online. If there's an artwork that moves you, share a comment in the chat. I want to tell you that all our artists absolutely love to hear about that. And now, finally, we present the InSights Art Awards for 2021. Let's roll that first video. We begin the awards with the presentation of the winners of the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade category. Third place in the category of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade is Ryder Boyer, a student from the Georgia Academy for the Blind in Macon, Georgia. This landscape drawing is titled Blue Sky Over City and measures 9.5 inches tall by 18 inches wide. With certain and confident black lines, the artist depicts the towers and spires of a futuristic city across the wide drawing. Tall, slim buildings are uniformly white, intentionally left uncolored by the artist except for the many and varied windows that rhythmically puncture the facades of each building. Skyscrapers are segmented by horizontal lines, some not parallel and some taper to a far point in the sky that it becomes simply a line in the sky. On the middle right, the spires of a building, possibly a church with 4 distinctive crosses on its towers, reaches the same height as the skyscrapers that surround it. On the far right, a tall, slim building ends at a point in the sky with a stack of 3 successively smaller semicircles featuring a sunrise motif, a building strongly reminiscent of the Chrysler Building in New York City. This urban landscape stands before a warm background of a blue sky and a pleasant hill of green pastures, both rendered by colored pencil in even visible strokes. One final splash of color appears in the sky at the upper right. A lemon yellow sun floats amidst the towers and steeples. This city feels like the imagination made real, like the wondrous architecture of a Zaha Hadid building, where architecture can lean, twist, and stack, but still feel grounded. Second place in the category of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade is Deshaun Sheely, a student from the Alabama School for the Blind in Talladega, Alabama. This acrylic painting is titled Elephant Gathering and measures 8 inches tall by 10 inches wide with dark blue matting and a wooden frame surrounding the painting. This central image of this painting is an elephant shown from the side, its head facing towards the left side of the painting. Its enormous mass takes up most of the picture. Its long trunk reaches towards the bottom left corner and disappears off the frame. The artist uses a blend of colors to depict the elephant, including tan and taupe, green and cinnamon brown. Either a smaller elephant or an elephant in the distance appears behind the main subject. This smaller, ruddy elephant faces us, with curved black lines suggesting a large floppy ear on either side of its head. Both elephants stand in sapphire blue water, the paint applied thickly and swirling around their legs. Above the elephant, a blue sky peeks through the brush strokes of a thick layer of white paint, which follows the shape of the brown landscape and the massive hulk of the elephant's back. One final feature, which is painted on the main elephant with intentional care, a large observant eye, outlined in careful black, sees us, it seems, with equal and cautious clarity. First place in the category of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade is Shania Shelley Johnson, a student from the Overbrook School for the Blind in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The title of this artwork is Owl with a Snoot and Curly Tail and measures 4.5 inches wide by 4.5 inches deep by 2.5 inches tall. This charming artwork is a fired and glazed ceramic sculpture, a depiction of an imaginary animal in the shape of a simple bowl. The eyes, as with most owls, are the most prominent feature of the face, which is sculpted on one side of the bowl. They are shaped as thick discs about the size of quarters, with deep indentations radiating from a hollow center. Beneath the eyes, the artist depicts a snoot, also known as a nose, shaped like a thin cylinder growing outward with circle and square-shaped indentations flattening the end. Flat, ear-shaped wings point forward next to the eyes. The rest of the sculpture is shaped like a bowl, glazed with a dramatic midnight blue on the inside and a variety of colors on the exterior, including purple, magenta, and orange. On the side of the bowl, opposite the face, the artist features an obligatory curly tail. And now for the winners of the adult sculpture category. Third place in the category of sculpture is Wanda Owens, an independent artist from Cincinnati, Ohio. The latest in the artists series on powerful women is this sculpture titled Henrietta's Renaissance. It measures 13 inches wide by 17 inches tall and 13 inches deep. This glazed ceramic sculpture features a prominent but serene face emerging into the front of the sculpture's darkly burnished surface. The meditative face is surrounded by golden floral motifs and sculpted leaves. The surface all the way around it is covered in deep texture, lines and burrs and sharp edges, reminiscent of the bark of an ancient tree, a survivor. At the top of the sculpture, branches, broken to stubs, and sails of curling bark appear to split and open to the enigmatic face, parting way to her eyes and nose and thick lips, open as if in the middle of song. The effect is one of emergence and rebirth, a seamless blend of the natural and the spiritual. Second place in the category of sculpture is Tomio Tajiri, an adult artist at Envision in Wichita, Kansas. This glazed ceramic bowl is titled Peaceful and measures 21 inches in diameter by 6 inches tall. A rich blue-gray glaze covers an uncomplicated bowl, which the artist then encircles with an array of delicate, multicolored flowers. An incredible amount of detail work went into the sculpting of the floral detail, which includes roses in colors of lemon, apricot, and salmon, and stunning white peonies, carefully sculpted with their distinctive, layered, multi-point petals. The artist further fills the bowl itself with lavender and mauve blooms, framed by wide, thick green leaves. The flowers, at a perfect moment in bloom, seem to gently emerge in the placid display from a modest, watery blue bowl. First place in the category of sculpture is Lorenzo Villa, an adult artist at Envision in Wichita, Kansas. The medium of mosaic has been around for centuries, if not millennia, and exquisite examples still exist in some of the oldest archaeological sites in the world. They are made by taking shards of stone, glass, or tile, and sometimes other materials, and arranging them into a pattern that depicts a landscape, a scene, or a portrait, mostly of a person of particular importance. Over the centuries, the means for portraiture has changed to painting and photography, but the solid materials of mosaic endure when other media easily fades. This artwork is titled Snoop and is one such modern mosaic. This tall, substantial piece measures almost 3 feet tall by 16 inches wide and 1.5 inches thick. This beautifully detailed portrait uses shards of colored tile to depict the famous musician who lends his name to the title, Snoop Dogg. The legendary rapper is shown from the chest up, facing forward, a traditional pose historically used for royalty because the pose evokes confidence and power. The artist uses dark chocolate and caramel colored tiles for Snoop's face and muscular neck, and solid black for his hair, including precision-placed slivers of tile for the musician's goatee. Snoop wears a black t-shirt with blue paisley detailing on the shoulders. The artist also includes 2 critical details to the portrait. Snoop wears a long gold chain slung around his neck, an actual chain attached to the mosaic and extending from the musician's neckline at the center of the mosaic all the way down to nearly the bottom edge. But more importantly, Snoop is depicted wearing a particular pair of sunglasses, large gold-framed aviators of black glass. At the bridge of the sunglasses is a carefully placed three-dimensional embellishment, a gold sculpture of a bee, roughly an inch wide, wings outspread, covering a portion of the inside corner of each lens. These sunglasses, created by fashion house Gucci and famously worn by Snoop, are called "I'll Be Rich Forever" and have been wildly popular. The artist of the mosaic takes the golden bee motif from the sunglasses and replicates the tiny sculpture at least 25 more times, arranging the golden swarm in a single line around the upper arched perimeter of the mosaic. The golden color of bees matches the mosaic tile that is placed as a background around Snoop's head. The artist also used a darker grout between the tile pieces, causing the yellow color to pop, and the whole arrangement of yellow tiles to almost shimmer, similar to the golden background of an icon. Taken as a whole, this artwork uses an enduring art medium and applies it to modern celebrity and throws in some additional golden details to the dazzling work. And now the winners of the Ungraded Student category. Third place in the category of Ungraded Students is Jonah Martin, a student from People's Academy High School in Morrisville, Vermont. Last year's InSights Art Show featured many portraits of dogs. So this year, the Cat Council turned up their PR machine, enticing many InSights artists to create portraits of our feline companions. This is the first for tonight. This painting is titled Rachel and measures 24 inches wide by 18 inches tall. This close-up intimate portrait of a cat is painted in shades of black, white, and gray. The main subject of this painting is the close-up, tranquil face of a relaxed cat, its eyes receded in shadow, its right cheek resting on a flat surface near a single outstretched paw that extends along the lower right edge of the painting. Prominent white whiskers flare out from the slumbering cheeks, and a single fuzzy ear points upward towards the top center of the canvas. The artist uses, I believe, only 4 paint colors, black, white, and 2 shades of gray. But the application of paint by the combination of gentle stippling with wide, confident swaths of pigment shows an excellent understanding of how light interacts with a subject of varying tones. In the lower right corner, the artist signs their work, Jonah M. Second place in the category of Ungraded Students is Miranda Salsa, a student from the Nebraska Center for the Education of Children who are blind or visually impaired in Nebraska City, Nebraska. This dual canvas painting is titled Instrumental Flowers. Each measure 11 inches by 14 inches. These canvases depict floral motifs in deep jewel tones against a solid white surface. The most prominent color is the bright red-orange of calla lily shapes. Each stem seems to sweep assertively upward or inward from a tiny point at the edge of the painting. Curving shapes in yellow, aqua, and blue sway back and forth beneath the orange flowers, bringing a meandering movement to this colorful painting. First place in the category of Ungraded Students is Josh Wickman, a student from the Nebraska Center for the Education of Children who are blind or visually impaired in Nebraska City, Nebraska. The title of this sculpture is Ocean Waves and measures 10 inches wide by 10 inches deep by 8 inches tall. The wooden base, measuring 10 inches by 10 inches, frames 2 wooden blocks, a chunky square of stained wood placed flat and at an angle within the frame, and a post about 6 inches tall placed upright beside the flat segment. Around these straightforward pieces of wood, the artist winds wire in a seemingly random path with wide curves, rounded peaks, switchbacks, and steep dips, similar to the track of a roller coaster. However, Every inch of the wire on its sinuous path around the sculpture is filled with mini clothespins, whose pointed tips protrude along a swirling path, a jagged ride on the exposed spine of a snake. The wire of clothespins provides a chaotic contrast to the solid, stable wooden pieces. Recalling the artwork's title, the spiky wire evokes the turbulent path of water as it hits wooden pylons at a pier. The sculpture helps us feel as if we watch the choppy crash of waves, water droplets everywhere, but frozen in time. Isn't that amazing stuff? And there's a lot more to go. But for now, I'd like to introduce my amazing and awesome assistant, Special Programs Assistant, Meg Outland.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you all experiencing this. Each artwork we received this year, I swear, made me grin year to year. It was such an amazing experience. I hope next year that I'll actually be able to meet all of these artists in person, which happens to bring me to my next thought. We want to thank from the bottom of our hearts the teachers from the schools and agencies, the parents, and the brilliant artists that made the 2021 InSights Art Competition possible. Your contributions and creativity truly made our day so much more colorful here. And with that, allow me to introduce the winners from grades 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, adult craft in grades 7th, 8th, and 9th. And now for the winners in grades 1, 2, and 3. Third place in the category of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade is Baxter Redinger, a student from Louisville, Kentucky. This piece is titled Dream House and measures 11.5 by 8 inches. It's no wonder this house is a dream home for this artist. Immediately, we are captured by the vibrant colors and architecture this house has to offer. Baxter incorporates medieval castle columns covered in gray stone, a brown wooden exterior, and scarlet red rooftops. In addition, this dream home is located in a scenic destination, tucked away between mountains, forests, and a breathtaking waterfall, located at the bottom left of the artwork. A dream house wouldn't be complete without windows to appreciate such a view. Baxter made sure to carefully include several windows throughout the home, making sure each view was one to be cherished. His crown strokes are strong, successfully displaying such a magnificent home. Second place in the category of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade is Sydney Floyd, a student from Mongolia Montessori Tutoring in Lawrenceville, Georgia. This piece is titled Handy Bead Bowl. It measures 5.75 by 4 by 1.75 inches. Perhaps you need a handy bowl to hold your most precious trinkets. This artist created a dazzling bowl carved from clay, molded in the shape of her hand. The fingers and thumb reach slightly upward as though they're about to clasp around an item most delicate. Embellished across the hand are multicolored beads, giving the clay bowl a spunky pop of color. This sculpture gives us a feeling of nostalgia, an ode to our younger selves in our little clay bowls, perched upon our nightstands that would carefully protect our rings, necklaces, and coins when we were once young. First place in the category of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade is Eliana Fisher, a student from Pleasant Crossing Elementary in Whiteland, Indiana. This piece is titled Rainbow Shores and measures 12 by 9 by 1.5 inches. There's something so bold yet so comforting about this artwork. The artist uses a calming baby blue acrylic backdrop, gentle so not to take away from the proud rainbow that jolts from the middle of a wood. A cloud hovers overhead, carefully formed with white string. Below, the rainbow exhibits beautiful colors in pink, orange, light blue, purple, and lavender, also formed by string. Nails hold each color together, supporting each rainbow ray. Below the rainbow, cascading across the bottom of the wood board, we see a deeper blue string, as if the rainbow above graces a body of water with her company. This artwork reminds us that there is always something beautiful waiting for us. We just need to get through the rain. And now for the winners in grades 7, 8, and 9. Third place in the category of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade is Henry Zimmerman, a student from Washington State School for the Blind in Vancouver, Washington. This piece is titled Sculpture and measures approximately 18 by 2 by 6 inches. Driftwood, tenderly held together by yarn, tells a story of something familiar. Reflecting that of an animal, the driftwood and brown yarn mold to form 4 legs, a torso, snout, and even a little tail. The artist carefully ties it all together, no piece of driftwood being quite like the first. All vary in shapes, sizes, and colors, from round to jagged to blunt. The figure seems to point towards something, guiding us toward the unknown. That's the beauty of something that feels so dear yet so unfamiliar. Will we allow the figure to be our chaperone on this journey? Second place tie in the category of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade is Hakan Denise Yerden, a student from the Maryland School for the Blind in Baltimore, Maryland. This piece is titled Maryland School for the Blind and measures approximately 24 by 12 inches. The detail in Maryland School for the Blind is beyond captivating, leaving us wondering how this couldn't possibly be a black and white photo. The artist perfectly captures each column, every brick, and every window as if a student were ascending the stairs into Newcomer Hall. Parked in front of the building are 2 school buses, as though waiting for their students to return after a school day. The shading seen on the windows, columns, and school bus windows leave us in absolute awe. Just beyond the etched Newcomer Hall proudly sits the Maryland School for the Blind crest. Are we not certain we're standing in front of a building ourselves? Second place tie in the category of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade is Maria Zorline, a student from Fairfax Station, Virginia. This piece is titled Flower Bouquet and measures 5.5 by 6 by 7.5 inches. In this sculpture, the artist shares a passionate moment with us, a beautifully sculpted flower bouquet tucked into a glass vase. These flowers are thoughtfully unique, all varying in shape, size, and color. The colors of the petals on each flower are dreamy, that of blue, purple, baby blue, mint, and white. Some flowers appear to be blooming, whilst others are fully displaying their petals, cascading around one another until they reach the center. The stems that proudly present these flowers are also unique in color, both mint and grass green. This is definitely a bouquet you would want to proudly give to your beloved. First place in the category of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade is Mary Wissinger, a student from Roanoke, Virginia. This piece is titled Bob the Cat and measures 12 by 9 inches. The comfort this drawing brings us is something to cherish. Bob the cat is curled up, sound asleep, his paws and tail tucked cozily against his body. His eyes are closed, nose and mouth resting on the ground, relaxed as he takes a little cat nap. His whiskers brush his cheeks. The stripes in the fur on his body form a perfect pattern down to the tip of his tail. Behind him appears to be a door frame or a baseboard. The shading on Bob and around him is exquisite, as though we can reach out to pet him through the paper. I like to imagine he's curled up next to a crackling fireplace with evergreen candles lit, enjoying a beautiful winter evening. And now for the winners in craft. Third place in the category of craft is Carol Farnsworth, an independent artist from Ada, Michigan. This piece is titled Playing Cat and Mouse and measures 17 by 10 by 12 inches. An unsuspecting felted ragdoll cat, adorned with a dazzling pearl necklace, finds herself sound asleep in a green yarn basket as 3 mischievous felted gray mice play around her. One mouse is posed by her feet, while the other 2 perch by her brown ears. Each felted animal has little wire whiskers. Inside the basket, there are several balls of yarn, all varying in color, including yellow, red, deep blue, turquoise, violet, and peach. One of the mice by her ears appears to be crocheting from the yarn beneath her, creating perhaps a small blanket. They incorporate the colors black, white, yellow, and violet. Perhaps the blanket is a gift for the snoozing cat, but only time will tell when she wakes up. Second place in the category of craft is Valerie Alcaraz, an adult artist from the Braille Institute of America in Anaheim, California. This piece is titled Abstract Textured Quilted Tree Landscape and measures 18.5 by 10.5 inches. Across the cloth lay 24 sporadic fabric squares, each carved with tiny bits of tree, including leaves, limbs, and perhaps fruits, forming a larger tree landscape. Surrounding lays a soft, deep, fuzzy purple fabric, also sporadic across the cloth canvas. One could assume the fuzzy purple fabric are additional branches, leaves, and tree limbs. Sprinkled throughout the remainder of the cloth canvas are tiny streaks of red fabric paint, framing and enclosing around some of the little textured squares and the purple fabric. The fabric that frames the artwork is a mixture of several colors, both neutral and bright, though not taking away from the focal point of this fantastical center. The tree branches seem to be reaching toward the top right of the canvas, nearly jumping off the cloth. The artist puts much precious care into this abstract piece. Viewers find themselves identifying something new that wasn't quite there before. First place in the category of craft is Linda McKinney Lambert, an independent artist from Elwood City, Pennsylvania. This piece is titled Evening Vespers and measures 17 by 4 by 0.5 inches. The stunning necklace titled Evening Vespers is immaculate to behold. Measuring 17 inches long and 4 inches wide, her focal color is a variety of shades of purple amethyst, creating a soothing presence. Incorporated throughout, the artist includes additional tiny beads of green and blue. The stone on this piece is not quite like a stone, as it holds 4 smaller stones within, surrounded by the tiny beads. Oval-like, the incorporation of colors and the mixture of large and small beads throughout makes the central piece glamorous. An exciting detail to add is that beneath the oval stone includes numerous strands of the tiny lilac and teal stones, flowing into the larger amethyst at the tip of each strand. The chain on this neck piece is also something to admire. On each side of a stone, working further up the chain, are 2 small O-like beads. Further up the chain, the artist adorns with additional amethyst stones. The back clasp is an additional purple iridescent stone surrounded by tiny lavender, teal, and crystal beads. This jewelry is absolutely mesmerizing. The texture from the bead to stone and the combination of purples, greens, and blues creates a dreamlike experience. I think now is a wonderful time to mention that the 2022 season of InSights Art is officially open. Artists, teachers, and parents, you have until April 22nd, 2022 to send in applications and your fabulous artwork. Rob, would you care to tell us about that process?
Thank you, Meg. Just a note regarding the entry forms, we have this year separated the instructions from the entry forms, and this is to make it easier for you to be able to email them back to us. So be sure to download both the instructions and the entry forms for either students or adult entries. You can choose one of 3 ways to get the 2022 InSights Art forms. First, for those of you who are here and who are watching this live Zoom broadcast, I believe, and someone can correct me, you can download them from the handouts folder associated with this session. Secondly, you can go to the InSights Art website. That's at insights-art.org and go to the tab, enter the contest, and you'll be able to download them there. Third, you can contact us at insights@aph.org, and we will send you everything you need. We are very, very excited to include your art in next year's competition. And now for the final act of the 2021 awards presentation. Enjoy.
We now present the winners of the preschool kindergarten category. Third place in the category of preschool kindergarten is Christina Rodriguez's class at the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in Miami, Florida. This artwork is titled Spring Garden and measures 30 inches wide by 24 inches tall. This adorable painting is a joyful depiction of springtime, A garden of colorful flowers blooms under a yellow-orange disk of sunshine while butterflies flutter overhead. But these are no ordinary flowers or butterflies. These details are made from handprints of young students in Cristina Rodriguez's class. From the bottom edge of the painting, strong green stems grow upward as pairs of leaves unfurl as crumpled pieces of lime-colored tissue paper. Tulip-like blossoms balance on top of the thick stems, their blooms depicted by little hands dipped in pink and purple paint and printed directly on the white canvas. It's difficult to see in this photo, but each hand-printed flower was dusted with a light layer of colored sand, marking the exact place for each handprint. Floating overhead, 4 butterflies, whose wings are also handprints, fly upward toward a disk of sunshine in the upper left corner of the painting. Each butterfly possesses felted wire antennae and translucent glass beads glued in a row where the paired wings meet. The butterfly wings are also coated with a light layer of fine, shimmery sand to signify its location on the canvas. As a whole, this artwork feels happy, a depiction of a garden of flowers in the spring, literally handmade. Second place in the category of preschool kindergarten is Yara Frignani's class at the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in Miami, Florida. The title of this piece is 3D Art Jenga. For those who have never played it, Jenga is a game where a grouping of 3 squared-off sticks of wood are stacked perpendicular across another group of 3 squared-off stacks of wood until all the sticks of wood are used and a tower of sticks is created. Game players select a single stick from the tower and pulls it loose, placing the freed stick on the top. Over time, the tower becomes unstable, and the first player who topples the tower loses. In Ms. Frignani's class, this game is transformed into an art piece by taking long cardboard boxes, the same shape as traditional Jenga pieces, but substantially larger, and painting each cardboard box with bright, colorful designs made by each student. Each box measures 14.5 inches long by 5 inches square, and when all the boxes are stacked, 3 per row, the tower measures about 40 inches tall. More or less the same height as your average preschool kindergarten student. Students choose a variety of colors across the spectrum of possible colors. One box is painted entirely yellow, but most game pieces have a wide variety of colors on each side. One may have yellow with purple accents, another may be green with blue swirls, another may be teal with orange accents. When the boxes fall to the ground, the drumbeat of hollow sounds fills the air. And with each new game, the Tower of Art Jenga becomes an exciting, colorful new game. First place in the category of preschool kindergarten is Hannah Castaner, a student from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. This piece is titled Queen of the Bugs and measures 18 inches long by 11 inches high by 6 inches wide. Every royal regent has a wardrobe of finery, from the ancient ermine-trimmed capes and diamond-studded crowns of England's queen to the gauzy silken dresses and crown of flowers worn by Shakespeare's Titania. This artwork is titled Queen of the Bugs. All hail the Queen of the Bugs. This fabric and wire sculpture stands 11 inches high and is 18 inches long by 6 inches wide. The main body of the bug is created by a stuffed black sock divided into 3 segments. Warm yellow yarn completely covers long, thin legs, which hold the body aloft, accented by a black thread creating dark stripes along its length. The artist then adorns this queen with bits of fabric in a rainbow of colors, mostly felt and secured with simple stitching. Notably, an intricate piece of square-shaped felt with a floral design in pale blue, hot pink, and yellow, secured by a yellow flower button, appears on top of this queen, as do 2 mesh wings, cut like long leaves opening outward to her left and right. Her face and head is no less adorned. Having no ordinary antenna, she wears instead golden spirals of wire from the top of her head. Her round button eyes are green and white and tan and brown. Her eyelids are shaded with purple and pink stripes, while felted peach-colored lashes, like the petals of a delicate flower, grow beneath her button eyes. A smiling red mouth is bordered by prominent stripes of royal blue. Around her neck, this queen wears a length of sage green trim with knots ending in pom-poms, like dangling jewels made of glimmering thread. And finally, on top of her head, a small ornate ring of gold and bronze fabric trim with an abundance of loops that arc like fleur-de-lis, the perfect detail for a royal sculpture. We now present the winners of the Adult Two-Dimensional Art category. Third place in the category of two-dimensional art is Monica Gonzalez, an adult artist at the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in Miami, Florida. This framed tactile two-dimensional artwork is titled Mariposa and measures 16 inches tall by 20 inches wide. The artist depicts a butterfly with ornate outstretched wings, but using only beans and grains. The artist outlines the butterfly with precise lines of black beans, including a round black head and thin antenna topped with large round dots. In mid-flight, we can see the colors and designs on the surface of the wings. The four wings feature a curved shape filled with earthy brown lentils and accented with tan lentils and dried yellow maize, which also fills areas of the hind wings. Concentric circles of teardrop-shaped maize kernels surrounded by lentils characterize the hind wings. A border of white rice grains, accented with precisely placed dots of red seeds, lighten the color of the wings. The mariposa flies against a background of yellow lentils, filling the top portion of the artwork. White beans fill the bottom third of the composition, along with rich magenta red beans just below the mariposa, as if the butterfly alights on the petals of a vibrant flower. Second place in the category of two-dimensional art is Aaron Hill's artist group at the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in Miami, Florida. This large mixed media artwork is titled White Cane Energy and measures 48 inches tall by 48 inches wide. This enormous canvas is a collaborative creation by the artists at the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind, who chose from a palette of colors and textures to create this work. Colorful shapes follow a strong diagonal movement emanating from the tip of the artwork's central feature, a white cane fixed to the surface of the canvas. Covered in dazzling white jewels, the tip of the white cane starts from the upper right corner and ends in the lower left corner of the square canvas. And from that point, energy flares out in blazing colors and organic forms. Shapes like flames that birth out round planetary spheres, fiery veins with a potent nucleus of blue, rivulets of golden jewels on pale yellow rivers, a dynamic river of round red glass beads parting to the irresistible voltage. The white cane seems to unleash a supernova of unrestrained energy, creative energy, artistic energy. Watching over all this, at the handle end of the white cane in the upper right corner, the artist paints a single eye. The iris is divided by quadrants of color, blue, lavender, yellow, and red. But the most subtle feature, almost missable, but entirely appropriate for the artists who created this work, painted on the eyelid is a tiny realistic green landscape beneath a blue sky, whose central image is the unmistakable depiction of a lighthouse. First place in the category of two-dimensional art is Amanda Stevens, an independent artist from Groton, Massachusetts. This acrylic painting is titled Noble Work and measures 20 inches wide by 16 inches tall. Painted on wood with a wooden frame, the artist has painted a landscape of pumpkins stretching towards a distant scenery. In the sky, the sun is low on the horizon, and toward the upper right corner of the painting, the sky darkens to a deeper blue. The visible sun still radiates bright, comforting light rays, which appear to highlight the main subject of the painting, a portrait of a serene black dog. Painted just off center at the bottom of the painting, the dog's face looks outward towards us, with deep brown eyes that are calm and attentive. A large round head is framed by small floppy ears. Its muzzle is relaxed and parted slightly. Though its fur is mostly black, the artist places subtle accents of brown around the ears, eyes, and muzzle. Additional speckles of white around the eyes could either be a lustrous coat or the understated signs of a mature creature. Regardless, this dog is clearly depicted as a steady and reliable companion in a very large pumpkin patch, a companion who just happens to also wear a harness just barely visible on his body. And our final category today, the winners of the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade category. Third place in the category of 10th, 11th, and 12th grade is Madison Harrington, a student from the Georgia Academy for the Blind in Macon, Georgia. This piece is titled Alone on an Island and measures about 18 inches tall by 12 inches wide. This mosaic features neatly arranged square porous tiles, all roughly 3/4 of an inch square. The artist secures them in neat rows with a white mortar or spackle from top to bottom, left to right, in a casual grid. The artist arranges blue tiles along the left side and in the middle, while more earthy colors like terracotta, ochre, and brown are clustered in groups and rows along the top, bottom, and sides of the composition. A line of sage green tiles are placed in a vertical row, which encircles an area within the blue field, where in the middle of the mosaic, the artist has placed a single black rectangular tile dead center. Sometimes when we look at an artwork, we immediately want to find meaning or symbolism. For this painting titled Alone on an Island, is this an aerial depiction like a map where we look down on an island? Or is there a rational picture hidden among the colored tiles, kind of like an artistic Where's Waldo? And what of the black tile, totally conspicuous, bigger than any other tile and can't be missed? Does that mean something? The challenge of an abstract, and I would call this an abstract, is not struggling through the puzzle of meaning, but instead accepting the work for exactly what it is, as it is. And that is also the joy of an abstract. You can see something one day and see something else on another. It can mean something one day and something else on another. And that's what makes this piece in particular so wonderful and so intriguing. The artist has intentionally arranged tiles in a particular pattern, gave it a title, but we, as visitors, finish the piece in our minds. Second place tie in the category of 10th, 11th, and 12th grade is Paul Tocco, a student from the South Carolina School for the Blind in Spartanburg, South Carolina. This sculpture is titled Sisyphus, rolling a boulder up a hill, and measures 5 inches tall by 6 inches deep by 14 inches wide. Created using clay, crushed rocks, and sand, the artist sculpts the eternal scene of Sisyphus, the tragic figure of ancient Greek myth who is condemned to push a boulder up a hill without ever being successful in his task. The lone figure appears at the bottom of a sloping mound, his hands bracing against a craggy rock with a flat bottom. Sisyphus's legs push into the ground as round muscles bulge on his body. The featureless face on the figure is appropriate since violent strain is evident from the position of his body alone. This scene is memorialized on a flat wooden platform shaped similar to a semicircle. The stepped edge feels similar to a stage where his equally futile and equally hopeful task can be remembered. Second place tie in the category of 10th, 11th, and 12th grade is Daley Thompson, a student at Envision in Wichita, Kansas. This pencil drawing is titled The Essence of Time and measures 14 inches tall by 11 inches wide. The artist has drawn a sketch of a face where the upper half of the head, including the eyes, are replaced with symbols of time. The artist uses a style of pencil drawing similar to classical sketches in a Renaissance notebook, full of studies of human forms or inventions. This drawing combines both, but with a dash of surrealism. This sketch looks like it belongs in the Salvador Dali notebook. The face is wide at the cheeks with a small classical mouth and a gentle but confident shading as the chin recedes back towards the thick neck. Where the figure's right eye would be, appears the darkened center of a stopwatch with a surreal second hand that extends far beyond the boundaries of the watch itself. Beside the stopwatch appears a round clock gear, and beside that, the number 7, drawn with a typeface similar to numbers on an antique clock. The artist draws wavy lines like the hand-canceled stamp on a posted letter, along with the word journey, printed in small letters beneath the number 7. The word time also appears written to the left of the stopwatch. First place in the category of 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, Caitlin Floyd, a student from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. This sculpture is titled Over 2020 and measures 15 inches high by 22 inches long by 3.5 inches deep and depicts the year that has passed, 2020. The artist represents this by forming a hill out of the numbers of the year, 2020. The first 0 is higher than the rest of the numbers, which slope to the final 0, which is leaning against the second 2, almost toppling over. The artist covers all the numbers with a dark green grassy surface, then lightly frosts the edges of the 2s to bring dimension and depth to the sculpture. The sculpture is covered with some of the most enduring symbols of our pandemic experience.
Thank you.
All recreated in miniature, strewn carelessly like litter on the landscape of the year. The first number 2 of 2020 alone has a stack of toilet paper, hand sanitizer bottles, face masks, social distancing signs, and latex gloves, all attached to the number as if randomly dumped. All pieces are handmade and true to form and scale. The face masks are created with squares of fabric and elastic bands on the side, just like a regular face mask, but about 1/2 inch in size. I counted miniature versions of at least a dozen rolls of mini toilet paper, nearly 2 dozen face masks, at least 15 bottles of tiny hand sanitizer, and dozens of little latex gloves cut in the shape of tiny hands, of course, and in authentic colors of pale blue, white, and purple. Bringing it all together with an artistic punch that strikes directly at our empathy, the artist places a lone figure positioned on top of the final 0 of 2020. The figure is hunched over, head down, extending a white cane in front with one hand and a tie-dye rainbow mask clutched by the fingers of the other arm, hanging without energy on the other side. The figure wears glasses and has dark blonde hair pulled into a single ponytail and back, wearing a black hoodie and black slacks. We have, I believe, met this person before in previous artworks created by Ms. Floyd in past InSights contests. The artist has intentionally placed a tired and drained figure who has just walked through the chaotic heaps of symbols representing the year that has passed. This is a self-portrait, very likely, but much more than a self-portrait, because anyone who experiences this artwork with all its potent symbols can't avoid the flood of feelings and memories of 2020, because really, this figure is all of us.
Well, Rob, I don't know what to say. I enjoy seeing every single piece of art and do wish I could come down and touch every single piece at the same time. So that's something I think everybody is really going to be looking forward to. And you and Meg get to get your hands on all of that art that came in. Amazing and impressive work. It was wonderful to have all of the comments that were coming up in the chat. And I agree with someone, you ended with the right piece of art. I think we are all tired of 2020 because it bled into 2021. Those of you that are joining us just now, you're joining in for the closing ceremony. And so I am going to share my screen and get us going. I want to thank all of you for coming for the last 2 weeks to our 153rd annual meeting for APH, that you were able to learn your way as much as you could and explore the way our students learn. We wish we could have been with you, hugged you, laughed with you, but hopefully as we head into the end of 2021 and our beginning of 2022, we will see you on the road. Maybe it will be virtual, because we weren't the only ones who realized people still have difficulty traveling. So in October, join us virtually for the NFB conference in California, October 22nd, or maybe the New York AER, October 24th through 26th. Maybe you're going to head to the new Northern Rockies AER, October 26th through 28th. Or maybe you have weathered the storm and are joining Louisiana AEM Click or Treat, October 28th. Maybe we get to see you in November at the Northeast AER, November 4th and 5th. Or the Southwest Orientation and Mobility Association, SWOMA, November 4th through 6th. We hope to see you, even if it's virtual. Maybe during November, you will be joining us at the Kentucky NFB virtually, November 5th, or AVRT, November 8th through 10th. Maybe you're attending the virtual Silicon, November 16th through 19th, or Kentucky ACB, November 18th through 20th. Still more virtual events. December, the Site Tech Global, December 1st and 2nd. And even feeding a little bit into January 2022, the Council for Exceptional Children, Division of Visual Impairments and Deaf Blindness, DVIDB, January 15th. We are hopeful, though, for our in-person events, and we have a few on the books with us. We have the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, January 5th through 8th, a huge event. We have the Council for Exceptional Children, the in-person event in Orlando, Florida, January 16th through 19th. They also have a virtual event, which we'll be at February 1st through 5th. Another in-person event, the ATIA in Orlando, Florida, January 26th through 29th. Next in-person event, CSUN in Anaheim, California, March 12th through 17th. Or AOTA, the Connect Center is going to be attending in San Antonio, Texas, March 31st through April 3rd. Now, I'm sure there are many more places we are going to try to be, but I want you to join us October 6th and 7th at the Hyatt Regency in Louisville. Let's make 2022 our in-person annual meeting fantastic. I'm going to stop sharing. And Craig, I am going to add you to the party.
All right. All right. So this is it, isn't it, Leanne?
It is.
Okay. So these are my final words going out. Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
Okay. I remember us talking about a warming video and all that kind of stuff.
That comes after. That comes
Gotcha.
after you.
All right. Well, again, if you recall, when I opened up the state of the company, I talked about how this was a struggle year, and I needed to reach out to a number of you just for some guidance. So I wanted to share some closing thoughts, and some of these are my thoughts, but a lot of these came from people in the field, colleagues, close friends. Some of you have been mentors to me, and I continue to seek you out for your wisdom, and I steal your ideas and your sage advice on a constant basis, whether you're aware of that or not. So I'll close this with the 3 R's. 3 R's of education. But I want to change those 3 R's a little bit. And the 3 R's, I'm just going to roll these out to you. And the first one is, how do we move? This idea of, we've gone through some big times in the last year and a half, coming up on 2 years. And we know that our hope is next year we're all back in person, and a lot of this weirdness, weird new reality is behind us. And as we craft a new way forward. So I think it's important, as several of you pointed out to me, is that we spend a little time with our first R, and that's recognition. We know, and it's good to recognize that things have been hard. Things have been challenging. We've had shortages of time. There's been shortages of resources, shortages of staff. There's been challenges with a non-inclusive world. And we've seen our students and our adult clients fall woefully behind their counterparts due to this non-inclusivity that exists in our world. So we know that, but we also, as I heard from so many of you, there's a lot of victories that came through this turmoil. We have seen, I heard several of you talk about this also over the last 2 weeks, about the growth in use of technology. We have really moved our field forward a number of years. I had heard, I think it was Jared from Arizona, saying he believes his staff have probably moved forward 5 to 6 years ahead. And it may have been more grandiose than that, but it was quite a bit of distance because of the pandemic. We've also proven that we can do a lot remotely when our backs are against the wall. And most importantly, something we knew about ourselves, something we told ourselves, but it was actually a chance to prove it. And that is we are up to any challenge. This field is formidable. It is an amazing group of individuals, agencies, and organizations, and you are all part of that. So that's the R one. Second R, refocus. We need to look forward. There is no time to wallow, and the time to congratulate ourselves is over. Because if you spend time wallowing about how hard things were, or if you spend too much time congratulating yourself, both of those events have the same impact. And what that does is that leads us to a point of stagnation. Sometimes it feels really good to be bummed out because you like the sympathy you get from others. And sometimes it feels really good to congratulate yourself because you like the congratulations you get from others, the support there. But You hang in either of those spots too long, you tend to not move. And that it would be detrimental to what we're trying to do as a field. You need to remember your mission. And so many of you people who wrote into me said this: lowered expectations for our clients and our students can never be okay. And I know a number of you heard that during 2020 from your departments of ed, from your school districts. Just lower the expectations. Kids won't have materials, they won't have supplies, but that's just got to be okay. And that can't be okay. So we're just resetting that right now. Remove the lowered expectations. I want you all to recall your new learnings and the skills that you've learned. You're going to have opportunity over the next few months as things start to normalize to go back to your old habits because they're comfortable. But I caution you on that because the students and clients you serve aren't there. They have moved on. They are in this new reality and they've forged a new way forward. They have changed their learning style. They have changed a lot of they have opened themselves up to learning a different way. So they're not there. So if you go backwards, you're going to be there by yourself. And it's not fair to them that you pull them back into your old ways because they're comfortable. So I caution you against that. And the last R I want you to remember is reliance, okay? Lean on the field. At the beginning of 2021, I was so exhausted from 2020, I just cocooned. And I know a lot of you did too, because, and you remember in 2020, we were meeting in Zoom chat rooms and happy hours and all of that. And by January, February of 2020, most of those just faded away. And I don't blame anybody. I was exhausted. I couldn't take one more Zoom meeting. I lost touch with a lot of you, and I apologize for that. I was a bad colleague and a bad friend during that time. So this is more for me, but it's maybe you find yourself in the same boat. Take the rest of 21 and into 22 and be intentional and connect with the field. Connect with your strong colleagues and cohorts. Connect with somebody new, and just whatever way that means. That may just be a quick text, or that may be a phone call, but really make a point to connect. Stephanie Bissonnette reminded me that, hey, you know what? This was rough, but this was not our first crisis. And she quoted Billy Joel. She said, remember the Billy Joel song, "We didn't start the fire." And she's so right. You know, our field has gone through many, many crises, nothing on this scale, at least not in my lifetime, but there were equally as big ones if you go back in history for our field. This was our big moment. So, you know, Stephanie, thank you. Yeah, we've done this before. We will get through it. And a lot of that is because if we really rely on each other and lean into each other, we have the collective knowledge to handle anything. That has been demonstrated. I'll leave you with a closing thought. There's a benefit to belonging to our field, and most of you know that, and that is it's the lifeline of support. We have this incredible lifeline of support within our field. But I will let you also know this, is that our collective core is woven through our shared experiences. And that provides us with an unbreakable bond. And with that, I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to say I hope to see you all in Louisville in 2022, and thank you so much. Back to you, Leanne.
You know, from the very beginning back in kindergarten, it was always, I can't even tell you how many times in an IEP meeting or a conversation or email with a TBI, I would hear the letters APH. I'm Kristen Smedley, and two of my three kids are blind.
APH is a huge resource for me. It's my go-to for educational materials. My name is Stacy Chambers. I am a teacher of students with visual impairments in Coppell, Texas. Anytime I'm coming up to a unit or a lesson with my students, I always go to APH first to see what all you all provide that can help me and my learners in the classroom.
When she first lost her vision, the Jupiter was a lifesaver.
I'm Claire, and I'm 11 years old, and I'm in 6th grade in middle school.
And my name is Kelly Schubert, and I am mom. She learned very quickly on how to move that camera, magnify that paper, move that paper around. So I think that was her first thing that she learned how to do when she was losing her sight, and it stuck with her.
Yeah, so we use a lot of different APH products to make our programs and services more accessible. My name is Stacy Gibbons. I am the Senior Director of Programs and Services for Northwest Association for Blind Athletes. We use sound sources, we use the ribbit ball, we use Wheatley kits.
Every area is pretty much encompassed in the product lines that they offer. And I think that that is a critical piece to helping us do our job. My name is Barb Peterson, and I'm an outreach vision consultant with the Montana School for the Deaf and the Blind. I'm also a TVI and comms and a deafblind specialist.
I had a student who decided that he really needed to learn Braille as a freshman in high school. He finally got it after many, many years. Like, we need to start working on this. We need to start working on it. So we started at kindergarten building on patterns. He just got it so much faster doing it through the building on pattern series. My name is Tommy Resch. I'm an orientation and mobility instructor and a blind and low vision teacher or teacher of the visually impaired.
I have really relied on APH most recently with the webinars and the Hive Access for some really great ideas.
Access Academy is my to-go platform whenever I have a question or I encounter a new device and I need to learn it quickly. My name is Nabiha Mujahid, and I'm the sports specialist at Louisiana Accessible Educational Materials.
I think I'm just so grateful for the many products that APH has and the community that we have.
I appreciate everything that APH has done for myself and Claire. They have great products, and we love the fact that we were able to get the Jupiter and she was able to start learning and gaining her confidence as soon as her vision started to go.
You know, I'm always in awe of people that are involved in this field, and so many at APH that don't have a child in their home that has blindness or visual impairment. They do this out of the pure love of making such an impact. That to me is heroic, for lack of any other word, because as a mom with two sons that are blind, of course I have the passion and determination and relentless grit to see them succeed. But I can only take them so far, and I can only grit my way so much if they don't have the tools and resources that they need. It's not going to happen. And then to see a team like the vast, diverse team at APH putting together the tools and resources and connections that a family like mine needs to really thrive and to access the success that we've had, that to me is the ultimate service and the most extraordinary heroic journey, that they're a part of so many of our own heroic journeys. I'm so grateful.
Thank you all for joining us. Amy, if you would be so kind as to hit the stop record button.